Hello everyone, it's Joseph Dunphy here, and this is your weekly Grass10 grazing management update on the dairy edge. The pasture-based figures for the week: average farm cover has dropped back to 757 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and the growth is sitting at 14 kilos. The diet currently being recorded on pasture-based dairy farms are 9 kilos of grass, 4.5 kilos of meal, and 3.5 kilos of silage. With the dry and breeze and good weather out there over the last few days, dry matter percentages have increased, with 19% recorded in Moorepark, County Cork, 19% in Athenry, County Galway, and 25% in Grange, County Meath. Predicted rainfall amounts are quite low for the next 7 days, with between 3 and 10 millimetres of rain expected for the vast majority of the country. Soil temperatures, with that cooler northerly airflow, are expected to drop back to between 5 and 6 degrees Celsius. And grass growth predictions are expected to be in the region of between 13 and 20 kilos of dry matter per hectare for the coming week. Your Grass10 tips for this week: weather conditions have improved significantly throughout the country, leaving ideal grazing conditions and super utilisation of pasture on farms. With that being said though, farm cover is below recommended levels on 50% of farms on pasture base this week, so grass needs to be budgeted for the next 3 weeks to ensure that cows are on a rising grass diet as we enter April. Every farm needs to establish where the farm is at in terms of grass supply weekly. As we approach St. Patrick's Day, it is vital that you complete an average farm cover to review percentage grazed during March and growth rates for your farm. See the grazing checklist in this week's Grass10 newsletter for tips on readjusting your plan depending on percentage grazed and average farm cover. The temptation will be there with the good conditions to graze hard now. However, this must be avoided if cover is under target, and we must manage the remaining area of the first rotation. When we take a deeper dive into the dairy farm cover data from this week's Grass10 newsletter, about 50% of farms are under 750 kilos of dry matter per hectare. About 35% of farms are between 750 and 900 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and about 16% of farms are now above 900 kilos of dry matter per hectare average farm cover. For people under 750 kilos of dry matter per hectare, these farms are growing in around 13 kilos at the minute. The target ag grass allocation at the minute is about 6 kilos, which is essentially grass by day on these farms. For people between 750 and 900 kilos of dry matter per hectare, the targeted grass allocation is grass by day and 3 hours after evening milking. For farms that have above 900 kilos of dry matter per hectare of an average farm cover, the target grass allocation is in around 12 kilos of grass, which is full-time at grass along with meal in the parlour. For farms that are above 900 kilos of dry matter per hectare, the targeted grass allocation on these farms is between 10 and 12 kilos of grass, which is essentially full-time at grass, and 3 to 4 kilos of meal in the parlour. Are you up to date with your nutrient application? Targeted nutrient application by late March is 60 units of N per acre or 75 kilos of N per hectare for most highly stocked farms, or this is slightly later on heavier type soils. This must be brought up to date now with good land trafficability. Second applications of fertiliser on grazed ground should be an NPK plus S type product if you have a P allowance and no slurry was applied, i.e. an 18612 plus S product. For paddocks that have received slurry, apply an N plus S product. So a 38 plus 7 type product would be good. For ground that has received no chemical N or slurry to date, apply 35 units of nitrogen per acre. Any slurry on farm must be now targeted to silage ground from now on at a rate of 2.5 to 3,000 gallons of good quality slurry per acre. Aisling Claffey, Teagasc nutritionist, has completed a Q&A on early lactation nutrition questions. It is available in this week's Grass10 newsletter via a link to the Teagasc public website. Common questions are answered, such as: how much energy, protein and fibre does the cow need in early lactation? What is the nutritional benefit of getting 1 or 2 grazings in the diet each day? And what should I do if I'm tight on grass or ground conditions prevent grazing? So make sure to click into this week's Grass10 newsletter and follow the link to the Teagasc public website. Our featured farmer this week is Dara Killeen from Aircourt in County Galway. Dara's milking 150 cows. He is 80% calved. His average farm cover is 1,063 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Growth on the farm at the minute is 18 and demand is 31. He has 45% grazed. Cows are grazing full time. They're getting 4 kilos of meal in the parlour and 1 to 2 kilos of silage per cow at the barrier during milking times. There's a spring grazing event on Dara's farm next Thursday, the 20th of March at 11 a.m., and everyone is very welcome. On the nutrient application side, the farm has received 46 units per acre or 57 kilos per hectare in the form of both chemical and organic. He will finish the second application of nitrogen next week with 35 units per acre on the final area of the farm. Dara completed a grass walk on Monday past and made some management decisions off that grass walk. Grass intake has increased as 45% of the farm is grazed, but his average farm cover is still over 1,000 kilos. The remaining 55% is planned to be grazed between now and the 7th of April. He is targeting a second rotation start of around the 7th or 8th of April, as the cover on his first 5 paddocks grazed is averaging 700 kilos of dry matter per hectare, so he's on target. So walk your farm this week and make your own management decisions. On Grass10 TV this week, we follow up on our 2 farms that we were on before Christmas, Micheál Smith's in County Cavan and Joe Murphy in County Kilkenny. So make sure to click on the link from our social media channels or on this week's Grass10 newsletter to see the spring updates from those farms. If you'd like to hear more from the Grass10 team, subscribe to the weekly Grass10 newsletter, which is available on the Grass10 page on the Teagasc public website, and the link to the newsletter is also available in the description of this podcast. We would like to thank the sponsors of the Grass10 campaign, AIB, Grass10 Agro, Department of Agriculture, FBD, and the Farmers Journal. This has been your Grass10 update, and I'll talk to you all next week.